Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome back to my channel. You know that I'm always in thrift shops looking for high-end style home decor for a lot less than retail, and this week I'm bringing you to the thrift shops with me. We'll see what we can find, bring some things home, and style them together. Come on and join me for this thrift shop challenge. Well, hello, welcome back to the channel, and we're going to dive right into the thrift shops this week. I'm taking you with me to some of the thrift stores I visited. So first off, I spotted this portfolio glass, I think it's called, lamp, also called art glass sometimes. I thought that was a cool pattern, maybe called like a river stone pattern I think I've seen before, but this particular thrift shop always has lots of lamps, and I found some really unique ones here before. They do mark some of them up a little higher than typical, but there are some neat ones. I also found this set of vintage mugs, and I really like the window pane pattern on these. They remind me a lot of some that we had growing up, so they caught my eye. Mugs here are only 25 cents each, so that would make a great vintage set for someone I did not need anymore in my cabinet, but really cute. I also just like to look at the knickknacks, and this particular store I tend to find more handmade items. I also found this ice bucket that was missing the lid, but I really liked the brown leather on the outside and thought it maybe had potential as a styling piece. Now, I'm not really a fan of orchids, but I did think that this one was one of the best quality ones that I had seen in a thrift shop in quite a while, and they were asking only $2.99 for it, so that was a really excellent deal for someone who does like the style of orchids. A really awesome deal. My little helper is with me today, and so we are just making our way along and looking at some things on the shelves. And you can see the orchids kind of floating along in my cart, and just spoiler alert, I did not buy them. I just thought to myself, I really don't care for orchids, so I'm going to leave these for someone who likes them more. Now, some things that find their way to the thrift stores are a little bit laughable. This, for instance, was a homemade Christmas decoration, I guess. It was made from paper plates that were glued to these wooden dowels, and while creative idea, I just thought it was funny that they would be available for resale. But anyway, this is an ornament that I spotted as well. It seems like a vintage ornament, very heavy, very high quality. I thought it was really beautiful. And I was also checking out this Parsons table, which was for sale for $30 at the same thrift shop. I couldn't decide if it was too antiqued and distressed or if it was beautiful the way it was, but I keep thinking about that one. So also these berries, this is a long garland, but it was so tangled. I think that's why someone donated it. And I also had my eye on this counter high bar stool with this cane backing. I thought that the shape of it was really, really nice, even though I didn't like the color of the wood or the fabric of the seat. I really thought that it had good bones and was considering using it for a spot in our house. It was $18. And then I also spotted some interesting frames. I love when I find multiples of the same thing, especially if I like that thing. So I really liked the washed out, almost driftwood color of these three frames. Not the fox artwork inside, but I always like to think about frames for another purpose. There were some art pieces that could go well for someone else's home. I kind of liked this abstract art piece, not for our house, but just thought it was interesting. And then down the line here, I spotted another one that apparently went with it, so that would be a really good deal for somebody to pick that set of two up. I also found a very large black and white abstract piece which would fit wonderfully in some people's homes. I could probably make it work in mine, but it's not particularly my style, but a really great deal. It was less than $20. And so now on to the things that I brought home. The first thing that I brought home was I grabbed this little leather-bound ice bucket. Now, it's almost certainly faux leather, but that's fine with me. It has a great look to it. It was only 99 cents, and so even though it was missing the lid, that was fine because I wanted to use it more as a vessel instead. So I'm just going in through some of my recycling area, and I have this packaging from this Amazon package that I got where it's just a strip of cardboard. So I'm just rolling that up. This will make a really great insert to stick inside of this and give me a little hole in the center, because I also have this little rustic Christmas tree that I thrifted a while back, and I want to put it inside of it. So I pulled it out of its existing base, which I didn't care for, and this makes the perfect little spot to just nestle it into this leather bound bucket. And I think that this looks pretty chic actually for an old ice bucket, and also I feel like I could use this for lots of other florals and it would look really nice and has almost a little bit of a McGee look to it in my opinion. Next, I also brought home these reindeer candlesticks, and these are a silver plating. They were bought earlier in the year, but I'm not sure if I ever showed them to you guys. I think these are just so beautiful and so different than what you're seeing in the stores, which is what I really appreciated about them. I loved that there were two of them. They're very heavy, they're very nice feeling, and I just think that they're more interesting than plain candlesticks. So in these, I'm putting these on this side of my behind the sofa table here in the family room and adding some taupe colored candles, and I just love the way that these look for Christmas. Behind this sofa table, you can also see the prints that I chose in a previous video. I think that I showed you the frames that I picked up from Amazon, and these are the 3 prints that I went with from Etsy, and then I had these printed off at my local Walgreens, and I think that they turned out really, really well. I like how well these 3 particular images go together, and I think it's just a nice cozy look for the winter time. Now moving on to the kitchen, you might remember this footage from my kitchen makeover. We did a DIY makeover of the countertops, the cabinets. We didn't replace anything, but we changed things up completely from the initial look of the kitchen. And so on that end, you could see that toddler stool that I was placing. That is where my little one likes to hang out and watch us. So I wanted to replace that at this point with something a little bit more nice looking, and she's big enough now to climb up in a stool. So as you can see, I did also grab that counter stool from the thrift store, and it cost me only $17.99, so that was a pretty safe bet. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with it when I brought it home, but quickly found some inspiration from online. I liked the colors and the styles of some that I saw that were similar, and obviously a lot more money than $18, so I felt pretty good about that. So I'm just popping out the seat from this so that I can first work on finding fabric that I have on hand to redo this. Now, regulars will know that my cat Curry is always on hand to help me by sniffing anything new that comes into the house, and so there he is doing his job dutifully and checking it out for me. So I did have some fabric on hand. I figured that I would, but I couldn't really visualize it, and I figured I would just go back to the thrift store another day if not and look for something. But I found this cream colored kind of striped fabric that I had plenty of on hand, and I think this will do nicely, although I might keep my eye out for some faux leather, maybe in a long skirt or some other sort of piece from the thrift store to redo this later, just so it's a little more spill proof, because I'm not sure that this one will hold up forever without getting stained, so we'll see. But once again, Curry is just helping me, and I am taking off the old fabric and starting to line my new one up for the new cover. However, best laid plans of mice and men. As soon as I started this project, I quickly realized that I was completely out of staples because nothing happened, as you can see. So I turned my attention back to working on the wood section of that while my husband was going to be running to Lowe's anyway to pick up some staples. We are just trying to get things done around here as we've been replacing the flooring, as you know. So first thing I did was I took it outside and I went ahead and used my magic eraser to get off any paint or other blotches that just a simple paint wash would not cover. You could see me a minute ago mixing up about 4 parts water to 1 part cream or grayish colored paint, and I'm just going in with a paper towel and rubbing that watered down paint all over the wood. This is the first thing that I'm trying with this because frankly it's very easy to do, and if this gives me the look that I'm looking for, I don't really have to do anything further on it. So you can see the difference that it makes. It really takes away a lot of the yellow tones in the wood, and it got it a lot closer to what I was looking for just doing that. So by the time I was done with that, my husband was back with the staples for me, which was very much appreciated. So I went in and went ahead and recovered that seat, and I think that it turned out pretty well. I just kind of pull it tight on all the sides and pull the corner as snug as I can without making big wrinkles on the side. Just try and pull it as smoothly as I can and add my staples. Once I'm done with this, I think it looks way better than the original fabric, and so I'm pretty happy with that. So I wasn't happy with my paint wash, and excuse the bags here. We have our old flooring that we pulled up. The yard is a mess. But anyway, I wasn't happy with this seat with the paint wash. Just once I got it in, I don't know, it just wasn't looking right. So I decided just to see and sand some of it. Since it's mostly flat edges, it shouldn't be too hard to sand. And here's what we have. So let me get my shadow out of the way. This is what it was before, and it's looking like this, which is much lighter. It's actually quite pretty. I'm not a wood expert, but I'm wondering if it's actually oak. It does have a really similar look to my oak coffee table. So I'm wondering if this is oak underneath. So anyway, if it doesn't look like you want at first, don't just automatically give up, because not everything you see online, on Instagram, on YouTube, whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that it all worked out on the first try like they make it seem like. Sometimes that was the third attempt and it just worked, and that's what they posted. So don't let it get you down. Just take a deep breath and go back in later when you have another idea. I'm only risking $17 on this chair in the first place, so I figured I might as well try. So I'm going to finish sanding this, and I'm really excited to see what it looks like once it's all sanded. So I'm just going in with my little sander. This one is called a mouse sander, and I can link it for you, but I really love this little guy. It has a pointed front end, which makes it nice for getting into different crevices and corners, but then also it has an additional extender piece that you can pop on the front that is like a crevice attachment that really helps it to get into even tighter corners. So I've been enjoying this sander, and this is what this looks like once I'm done. I think that it looks a lot better. It doesn't look streaky anymore. It just is the natural wood, and I think that it's much better. I'm so glad that I picked this up for $18, and this is perfect here on the end where it's not really a countertop that hangs over that you would normally sit under, but it works for our purposes because she likes to sit there. Now Curry obviously thinks that we put it there just for him, and so he's been in it nonstop since I put it there, but that's okay. Another thing that I brought home from the thrift shops was this set of candlestick holders. Now, I thought that these were really pretty. I think that they're soapstone. Maybe, don't quote me on that, but they're some sort of stone. They seem to be old ones. I got them for $4.50 and $3.50 respectively from a thrift shop nearby, and I just thought that they were really pretty. They're a little different than some of the ones you see right now, but at the same time, I could definitely picture these on the website, like at McGee & Co. or somewhere like that. I think that they would definitely fit in with that modern cottage and transitional look that I'm going for. So I thought that they were perfect, especially for that price. Now, I've placed them here just to kind of show how they look once they're styled together, but this isn't actually the ideal spot for them since we still have some renovation going on. Everything's not back to quite normal. I wouldn't normally put them here just because it's not very realistic. I would never actually burn a candle here in this hutch with the shelf where it is right on top of these. So that's just a little pet peeve of mine. I don't really like seeing candles where candles wouldn't naturally go, but just to show you what they look like, I thought that they were a great deal. Now, I also picked up this ruffle-edged throw blanket from the thrift store for only $2.99. I really liked the color, the ribbing, the ruffle edge, obviously. This came from the Threshold line at Target originally. Their blankets like this are usually around $35, so I feel like for $3, it was an excellent deal. Couldn't beat it. Just throw it in the washer and then it's ready to go. It didn't have any snags or stains or anything. And I think that it really adds some interest to our sofa or our blanket ladder, etc. It's just a nice piece to add to our collection. I also ended up bringing home this Christmas ornament from the thrift shops, and it was only 49 cents. This was such a great deal, and if you could hold it in your hand, I think you would understand how high quality it is. It's very heavy. That top piece is not just a plastic, it's heavy metal as well. It just feels like really good quality, especially for only 50 cents. So here I'm just adding some velvet ribbon to it to hang, and that's a photo of one that I saw on Etsy that looks to be the same one. It's selling for $25. So my price was excellent, and since it's December at the time of filming this, I'm just going to put it straight on my Christmas tree, which is nice and simple. It really goes well with some of the other vintage ornaments that I've collected over the years, and I'm so happy that I grabbed it, especially for the low price. And then I also picked up those 3 frames that I showed you from the first thrift store. So I really liked, first of all, that there were 3 of them. I like when I can find multiples of things because they're just harder to find at thrift stores. The price was pretty good for $5 each. And then I also liked that they were nice and solid and heavy feeling. I liked the color of the frame, and I liked that they included the matting, which is just an extra bonus because that does tend to cost a little more retail when it includes matting. I also like that they were pretty large. So I went ahead and grabbed all of those for $15 total, and I haven't had time to print out any images to put in those yet or find a spot for them, but you will definitely be seeing them in an upcoming video. So that was my haul for this week, and honestly I found it difficult to find time to get out to the thrift store this week because I've been so busy at home. We've been working on several different projects here, and also with work it's been busy, so it's just a busy time, but still I went out, I found some things that I really appreciated, and so I hope that encourages you to get out and go and take a look and see what treasures you might find as you work towards curating the look that you want in your home. Just don't forget to take a few things back to the thrift store every few trips so that you're purging and not accumulating too much stuff. That's what I like to do. But in any case, if you enjoyed today's video, I would appreciate you hitting the like button, leaving me a comment, letting me know what you liked, and then also hit the subscribe button if you would like to see more of my videos in your feed. In next week's video, I'm going to be showing you some of the projects that we've been working so hard on around here and some home updates, and I hope that you'll tune in for that because I'm really excited to show you a few things. And so on that note, have a wonderful week everyone, and I will see you at the next video.